Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the sixth wellness webinar of the Balance series, an initiative taken by Butterfly Ayurveda during this time of COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdown. This webinar is on Prakriti and food. So I am Akshi Khandelwal. I'm the CEO and founder of the company. And I welcome you all once again on behalf of Butterfly Ayurveda. In this webinar, we are going to once again cover the three doshas and then talk about the different foods and eating habits that suit the different doshas and the diet recommendations that we have for you. So once again, we'll start with the most fundamental principle upon which Ayurveda is based, which is the Panch Mahabhut theory. Just like everything in nature is made of 5 basic elements, so are our bodies. And these 5 basic elements are earth, fire, water, air, and space. Prithvi, Agni, Jal, Vayu, and Akash. And we know that earth is a very stable substance. Fire is very transformative and dynamic. Jal is always flowing. Air is also, it's a gaseous state of matter, and it's highly dynamic and mobile, and also very light. Space is emptiness. So I'll go through these facts a little quickly because we've already done this in the previous webinar. And I do advise you all to go to our YouTube channel to check out the previous webinar, or to our website, which is butterflyayurveda.com, to check out the webinar on Introduction to Ayurveda. The combination of these 5 elements, they make up for the doshas. Doshas that run through our body. They're present in each and every cell. They are the bioentities. They are biochemical and physiological forces that run through each and every cell of the body. So on the right-hand side, we can see that air and space, Vayu and Akash, make for the Vat dosh. Jal and Agni, fire and water, make for Pit dosh. Jal and Prithvi, which is water and earth, make for the Kapha dosh. Now, the word dosha actually comes from Sanskrit, or from the Hindi word dosh. It essentially means that anything that can go out of balance. So when these doshas go out of balance, they create a huge imbalance within the body. So that is where this word is coming from. So let's talk about Vat dosh. Vat dosh, since it's made of air and space, it is responsible for any kind of movement that we do. So the movements that we do in everyday life, even the movement of our eye when we are blinking, when I'm talking, the movement of my mouth, or the movement of breath, the movement of blood through our arteries and veins. When we eat our food, it gets chewed inside our mouth and goes down into the digestive tract and then gets churned into the stomach. All this requires movement. So any kind of movement that is happening within the body and with the body is happening because of the presence of Vat dosh. And one of the most important functions of Vat dosh is also excretion. So excretion of feces, excretion of wastes, whether mental and physical, also reproduction, menstruation cycle, all of this happens because of the presence of Vat dosh. When we come to Pith, Pith is responsible for any kind of digestion or transformation process happening within the body. So Pith is highly, it's hot and intense because it's made of fire and water. And when Pith gets disturbed, then that is the time when we experience acidity, or we tend to get angry or aggressive. So Pith is primarily present in our stomach and liver. It's of course present in every part of the body, but the primary place of operation is in the stomach, where it operates as the Jataragni, which helps us digest the food. And also in the liver, since it helps in secretion of bile, which further helps with the processing of the food, emulsification of fats, synthesizing of proteins, breaking down the food, metabolizing it so that we can derive energy from it to continue to live our lives. So this is where we see that pith is so important. It is the pith that helps us to even digest our life experiences. From here, we move on to Kapha dosh. Kapha dosh is a combination of earth and water. It is responsible for any kind of structural development that takes place within the body, and also lubrication. So I also mentioned this in the previous webinar, that when there's a fetus in mother's womb, Kapha dosh is highly present at that time. So when the fetus develops into a baby, and then further the baby continues to grow, and even when we are out of the womb, all our childhood is primarily dominant by Kapha dosh, because we are undergoing major structural transformation. So the way our spine develops, the way our flesh grows, and it's also responsible for lubrication within the joints. So when your synovial fluid tends to dry up in your joints, it's because your Kapha dosh is highly imbalanced. And this tends to happen at a later stage in life. So when we are in a childhood stage, it's mostly the predominant dosha is Kapha dosh. When we are in our youth, the predominant dosha is pith. And when we are tending towards old age, the predominant dosha is vata dosh, where we tend to become fragile and dry. And we are going to come to those qualities a little later. And like I said before, an imbalance of doshas in the body results in a disease. Now here we go into a little depth about the different characteristics of the different doshas. So on the right-hand side, we can see that we've written the vata tendencies and what happens when vata goes out of balance. Once again, this was done in a great detail in the previous webinar. However, we'll quickly go through it. So vata people, since vata is made of air and space, they tend to be light and thin, petite in body frame. And also, because of these elements, they tend to be creative, free-spirited, light-headed, and they can be very enthusiastic about anything and everything. However, when vata goes out of balance, it can lead to body pain. So people who are predominantly vata may have a little more or experience more body pain, pain in the calves or pain in the joints, or they may be just more fragile and weak than the rest. They come across like that. However, they're very movement oriented. So they would enjoy running, they would enjoy movement oriented activities like dance, or they have fluctuating energy levels. So in 1 minute, they could be very, very energetic. But in the very next second, they could be like, oof, I'm really tired. They have high amount of gas problem or irregular digestion. Because once again, because of the presence of the elements of air and space, the digestive fire tends to be very low in the vata types. We'll come to that a little later. And that is why their appetite can be very irregular. Sometimes they will feel very hungry, and another time they would be not at all hungry. Also, they tend to undergo problems like bloating or confusion because of instability of mind. It's very hard for them to focus on one thing. Arthritis is also associated as an imbalance of vata, mainly because air gets stuck between the joints. So even the crackling sound that you hear when you're pressing your knuckles, it's because of the presence of vata dosh. When we talk about pith dosh, people whose body constitution is predominantly pith, they are very fiery, they're hot and intense because that's the characteristic of fire. Also very light, and that's why these personalities could be very dynamic. So they could make for very good leaders or eloquent speakers. They are highly goal-driven. They could be very courageous, very ambitious. They are the ones who are more confident, and they tend to also be very competitive. But when pith goes out of balance, the same lot can come across as aggressive and angry people, or they can suffer from problems of gallbladder stones, because like I said in the previous slide, that pith is responsible for secretion of bile. So if there's excess pith, there will be excess bile secretion, and gallbladder is the place where the bile is stored, which could lead to gallbladder stones, fatty liver, especially if these people consume alcohol or very fatty foods, because naturally they are oily because of the presence of fire. They could also suffer from inflammation of any kind, whether it's on your lip, whether it's in your intestine, or it's in your foot. So inflammation of any kind is a sign of pith imbalance. Digestion problems, even though these people have very good digestive fire, however, they may suffer from digestion problems of hyperacidity or heartburn, because sometimes their appetite is so huge, they could tend to overeat, or they tend to eat spicy and hot foods, which could further aggravate pith and cause digestive issues. Sometimes excess heat in the body also leads to constipation. So Vata people, they will get constipated because of dryness, because there's so much of dryness because of presence of space, because of presence of air and space. Pith people will get constipated because of heat. So that is why it's very important to have a balanced fire in the body, a balanced pith. And we'll slowly progress to that. Let's talk about the kapha types. So people who are predominantly kapha. Like I said before, kapha dosh is made of earth and water. So these people, they tend to be very stable because of the presence of earth. And because of the presence of water, they are very emotional. They're sentimental. They can showcase a lot of love and compassion. And they're also very easygoing and relaxed. They don't, they can't really plan and schedule a lot for themselves. So when kapha goes out of balance, they can be very sluggish. It can lead to lethargy, drowsiness, also weight gain, and attachment, greed, and of course, excessive phlegm formation. So if they are not exercising, or they are eating the wrong foods, specifically milk products, because milk products, they tend to aggravate kapha dosh. Then it leads to excessive mucus or phlegm formation, which will lead to sinus problems also, cough and cold, and lethargy, just heaviness in the body because of the presence of earth and water elements. They're just generally heavy and dull. So it's very important for these kind of people to add spices to their food so that it activates their element, to exercise regularly and do rigorous exercise. Vata dosh people, they want to, do slow breath work, and they want to indulge in meditation or Tai Chi like of exercises or practices. Pith people, they like a moderate exercise regimen where they can go for a short run and do some other things. Kapha people, they are the people who really need rigorous exercise. So weight training and a good amount of cardio works really well for them. And usually 2 of the 3 doshas is predominant in a person. So usually we come across people who are Vata Pith or Pith Kapha or Kapha Vata. Very few people are actually Vata Pith Kapha, when all these 3 doshas are present in an equilibrium. However, there are like 7 possible constitutional types: Vata, Pith, Kapha, Vata, Pith, Pith, Kapha, Vata, Kapha, or VPK. But we can see that the presence of each of the doshas is very important in our body. So as we move further, this is what I was talking about when we were talking about the digestive fire associated with pith. And this is called Jaఠragni. Jaఠragni is the digestive fire which is present in the stomach and also in your duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine, where the enzymes and the bile come together to further break down the food and absorb the nutrients from the food. So the digestive fire, which is associated with Vata, it's highly irregular. It's very variable. Sometimes the fire will be high, sometimes it'll be very low. And again, it's the presence of the air element, Vayu. Due to this, problems like gas, bloating, constipation due to dryness, colic, all these problems exist. And over a period of time, if it is not taken care of, then it can lead to ama buildup, which is toxins buildup in the body. Then we have Tikshna Agni. Tikshna Agni is high digestive fire, which is associated with pith types or the pith body type. In this case, the fire is excessive. It's like hypermetabolism. So the digestion process is very strong, very quick, and appetite is also high. It's not normal. It's just more on the high side. So these people, when they sit down to eat, they could actually eat a lot. They could really eat large meals. And at the same pace, they're able to digest that meal and excrete it, eliminate it also. So this is not very good again for the body, because the nutrients, they tend to get incinerated, burned out so quickly that your tissues are not able to develop. And this kind of digestion process may lead to hyperacidity, like we discussed earlier, or diarrhea, or even jaundice in the liver, because there's so much of pressure on the liver to perform, that, oh my God, so much food is coming. So the liver is under pressure to perform. And fatty liver, urine problems, again, all interrelated, can be associated with this kind of digestive fire. And again, once again, it leads to buildup of toxins. Ama buildup can happen. So this is also not good for the body. The digestive fire, which is associated with the kapha types, it's called Mand Agni, and this is low digestive fire. So since the elements here are earth and water, the digestive fire is low, and the digestion process is dull and slow. So people who are predominantly kapha, they may not feel hungry through the day at all. They may not even care about food. They're like, oh, food. Oh, yeah, okay. So they have a very poor appetite. And if they eat the wrong foods, like, excess intake of milk products, or ghee, buttery, fatty foods, then they can become even more sloth-like, or more sluggish. And it could lead to greater problems of sluggish metabolism, weight gain, water retention, excessive phlegm formation, like we discussed earlier. And if they are not exercising and they continue to be like this, it could lead to poor blood circulation. And once again, toxins build up in the body, which then further lead to many other health issues. So it's very important. On the left-hand side, we've given Samagni, which is it's very important that we have a Samagni within our body, which is the normal digestive fire. It is strong, a strong and appealing appetite, which is satisfied by a balanced meal. So it is your digestive fire is under your control, where if somebody tells you that, yes, the food will be late in 20 minutes or half an hour, it's okay. You're absolutely okay with it. But if it is imbalanced, and if you're feeling hungry, and if you're a pith person, you could go crazy in that half an hour. But this is where we require that we have a normalized digestive fire. And digestive fire, when normalized, is responsible for healthy body nutrition and development of the different dhatus. Dhatus are the different tissues. It could be the blood tissue, the muscle, the fat, the hair, the nails, even your semen, sexual fluids in the body. Everything is related to how your digestive fire is. So it's very important that we recognize or identify with our body constitution, and choose the right foods so that we can maintain a healthy pith or a healthy fire. And this can really help us to lead a fulfilling life. Okay, so now we come to the diet recommendations that we have for the different doshas and or the different body types, of course, we must keep in mind that what we are recommending is not absolutely necessary or important, or this is the only way to, you know, uh, chop down your diet plan. However, this information could be just helpful for you. And these diets that are given here, they're not just for the Vata types, Pitta types, and Kapha types. They're also for us to understand what foods help which kind of doshas. So, like I said before, all three doshas are present in our bodies. So, when we face a certain kind of problem, we can know what to do with that problem. We can understand that this problem is coming from this imbalance of dosha. So, for example, if you're facing acidity, then you know it's a Pitta imbalance, and then you know what to do. If you're facing gas problem, then you know it's a Vata imbalance, and then you know what to do, what foods to choose to balance your Vata. All right. So let's start with our early morning routines. There are a lot of people who wake up very early now, and it's great to wake up early in the morning. 2 to 6 a.m. is actually the time of Vata. So this is the ideal time to wake up, and you can indulge in meditation. You can also excrete your waste very easily because, like I said before, Vata helps in excretion process. And even if you wake up a little later, like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., that's absolutely fine. But when we talk about what to consume early in the mornings, for those who wake up early in the mornings, let's start with a Vata diet. So it's highly recommended in Ayurveda that when you wake up, the first thing you must have is water. So for Vata people, it's important that they consume a few glasses of warm water, and perhaps one or two may not be sufficient for them, maybe three or four, or two or three. And this will also help them to excrete waste properly, and also um, fill their cells with water, so the whole body will receive the water and feel completely replenished. It's also recommended that once you've had your water, uh, for the next 35 to 40 minutes, avoid eating anything or drinking anything. This will help you to detoxify your colon and detoxify the cells and detoxify your body overall. So perhaps this is a good time to indulge in meditation or exercise, run, or whatever you do in the mornings. And after a break of 40 minutes, you could have peeled almonds, means you've soaked almonds overnight, and almonds are sweet and warm, which is very satiating for the Vata type because they are dry, they are cool, they are so light that nut in the morning, almonds in the morning can really help them ground themselves. And then you can also have a spoon of Chyawanprash. Chyawanprash, we all know, it's a great tonic. It's a great uh, Ayurvedic recipe, which is very good for the nervous system, which is very good for the digestion process. It's great for immunity. It's great for the eyes. It's great for detoxification. It has manifold benefits. And once you've had your Chyawanprash, then once again, a gap of 30 to 35 minutes before you have a cup of tea. Because then only you will be able to reap the benefits of Chyawanprash and also of the almonds. So these things, if these small things are kept in mind, we can drastically transform our health. We can drastically change our bodies, especially our digestive process. So for the Vata type, a cup of ginger tea or butterfly Ayurveda Suprabhat chai could be very satiating. And ginger specifically for Vata is again very grounding because Vata tends to be cool, light, and dynamic. Ginger helps the Vata to ground itself. Let's talk about Pitt's diet in the morning. So Pitta would start with 1 to 2 glasses of warm to normal temperature water, mainly because Pitta is already quite hot because it constitutes of the fire element. So totally depending upon whether he's a Vata Pitta or a Kapha pith, he could go for a warm or normal temperature water. And 1 to 2 glasses is more than enough for pith people. Usually their digestion process and excretion process is well balanced. And after a gap of 35 to 40 minutes, you could have some peeled almonds. Since they are peeled almonds, so it is absolutely okay for pith people to go for it. If they were not peeled, then it would create excess heat. So peeled almonds are absolutely good for the pith types. This can be coupled with a spoonful of Chyawanprash once again. And after a break of 35 to 40 minutes, you can have a cup of tea. We recommend Butterfly Ayurveda's cardamom tea or homemade cardamom tea, because cardamom has cooling properties and it helps to balance the pith. For the cough types in the morning, it's recommended to start with 1 glass of warm water, mainly because they already have the element of water and they already have a lot of earth and water in them. Warm water will help them to rekindle or activate their fire. So warm water will do them good in the morning. This could be followed by honey or Chyawanprash. So honey is very good for the cough types because honey helps in, it works as a expectorant. It really helps in eliminating toxins and also eliminating the phlegm from the respiratory system. And automatically you will see that some people are very fond of honey. They may be cough types. So after a glass of warm water, after 30 to 40 minutes of break, you can go for honey, or Chyawanprash is also okay. Then once again, after a good break of 35 minutes, you can go for a cup of herbal tea or ginger tea because they need that warmth. So once again, ginger tea is good. You can couple it up with milk, but preferably without milk because cough types should avoid milk products. Herbal tea could be very good for them. It will help them detoxify. And we also recommend our Suprabhat chai here, which is made of tulsi, mulethi, brahmi, and kali mirch. Now let's come to the breakfast time. At breakfast, it's very important that Vats types, they have a warm breakfast. So a lot of people start their day with fruits, which is good. We're going to come to that. But maybe for a Vata person, it's good that they start with a warm meal because again, morning time is a little cooler time than the rest of the day. And if you start with a warm meal, you will automatically feel more grounded. The Vata will feel more controlled. So eggs with buttered toast, also a slice of avocado can be added. Warm cereals like dalia with milk can be taken. This could be very satiating, especially if you're a Vata cough person. Or alternatively, if you're very hungry, if you're super hungry, you can go for aloo ka parathas with generous amount of ghee. Because Vata people need ghee because there's a lot of dryness in the body. So ghee does them a lot of good. When we come to Pitt's breakfast, yes, start with a salad, a fruit salad, which consists of apples, pears, grapes. Red grapes specifically can be very soothing for Pitt, berries. You can garnish your fruit salad with coconut, shredded coconut, or even raisins. This is very helpful to appease the Pitt, to soothe the excessive fire. Alternatively, or after a break of half an hour, 40 minutes, you can go for dalia with warm milk and you can add raisins to it. Something sweet helps to pacify excessive Pitt. So almonds and jaggery can also be used. Here, we would say that almonds if you use peeled almonds, it would be better for the Pitt type. But if it is winter time, then you can also use the normal almonds with the skin because they also have a lot of benefits and they could be very warming. If you are super hungry in the morning, the Pitt type can definitely go for paneer parathas. And once again, these paneer parathas can easily be eaten by the Vata type also. But yes, the Vata type may not have such a big appetite as the Pitt person. For the cough types, you can start with a fruit salad. These would include grapes, apricots, berries, peaches, and strawberries. Tastes, tastes that are pungent or astringent and bitter taste, they help to pacify and balance the cough person. So berries and strawberries and grapes are very helpful to pacify the cough. Cereals like barley flour cereal, or barley mixed with roasted barley mixed with warm milk can be very good for the cough types. It's also very good for the pith type. So barley is highly recommended, more so because cough types need to have lighter foods in their body, because anyway they feel very heavy. It could be coupled with a little bit of dried fruit, because they need to keep warm also. And a pinch of cinnamon can also do them a great deal of good. Cinnamon is very good for the diabetics. It's very good. It's rich in antioxidants. It's also very good to control the phlegm formation, because it's a spice. Now, when we talk about barley, a lot of people have started making barley pancakes. These could also be a very fun thing for the cough and pith types. So barley pancakes could be very good for cough and pith types. Barley is cooling, so it is good for the pith type. And for cough types, because it's light in nature, it helps to balance the cough person. Alternatively, if you want something more Indian, methi parathas. Now, methi parathas can be excellent for vata and cough types specifically, because fenugreek, it is hot in potency, so it really activates that fire element in the cough types. It's also very good to lower the cholesterol in the body. And methi parathas, when eaten, they are filling, but at the same time, they are light. So they will not kind of sit heavy in a cough's body. It's important that cough people, they follow up their breakfast with a cup of herbal tea or black tea or green tea, something warm, so that their digestion is not sluggish and they're able to digest properly. And you see these timings that we've given, like I talked about early morning, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is the time of Vat, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the time of Kaph. So it's important that the foods that we choose, they don't aggravate our cough. So usually it's recommended that during this time, avoid eating bananas, because bananas, they tend to aggravate cough. You can have a banana after that, probably as a midday snack. It would be fine. But 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., it may aggravate cough. Now we come to the midday snack. Midday snack is for those who like to snack. And usually Vat people like to snack a lot because they have such an irregular appetite. They feel hungry after every 2 hours. Pith people could snack if they've not had their meal properly in the morning. Cough people, hardly. If they've skipped a meal and if they feel like snacking, unless they are a Vat cough person. So let's talk about snacking. 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. is the time that suits the present lifestyle that we all are leading today. However, from 12 o'clock, or you can say from 10 a.m. To 2 p.m., the pith timing kicks in. So your digestive fire is at its peak. And if you go for a lunch at 12 o'clock, provided you've had an early breakfast, then you will be able to digest your lunch really well. So if you are a person who's got an early schedule, then probably midday snack will not happen for you. However, let's go through this. So here we are talking about fruits. The Vat person can easily go for fruits here. He can include black grapes, pomegranate, avocado, I've already mentioned, bananas, if it suits you, figs, peaches, apricots. These are some of the fruits. Or you could have a handful of nuts, like walnuts or almonds mixed with sesame seeds and a little bit of jaggery, totally depending upon what time of the year it is. If it is the summer of Delhi, then definitely this is not a recommendation. But if it is really wintry, it is hardcore winters, or you're in the hills, mountains, this is something that you may consider. Alternatively, if you've had a very light breakfast, maybe just a dalia or something, then midday snack of upma or veg poha, or even roasted or cooked sweet potato can do you a great deal of good. Now we come to Pitt's midday snack. Once again, Pitt can again go for fruit salad, papaya, prunes, mangoes, melons, pineapple. All these will help to balance the pith or pacify the pith. Alternatively, Pitt can go for celery sticks and dip them in homemade hummus, because hummus is made of chickpeas. And since Pitt's fire is so strong, hummus is not so heavy for them. Sprouted moong with black salt and lemon is also a very good choice. It's also a good choice probably for the Vata and the Kapha type. However, Vata type should always choose cooked meals. Salads could create gas. Let's come to Kaph's midday snack. Kaph's midday snack can again consist of a fruit salad filled with berries or sweet lime juice. Pears is also very good. Jamun is something which is fantastic, and apricots. Alternatively, dhokla, khandvi, or besan ka chila. Anything which is made of besan or anything which is made of chana is very good for Kapha types because it helps balance the Kapha. And it also adds to their energy levels, and it's high on fiber, so it pushes the metabolism. It really rekindles their digestion process. This is our Suprabhat chai. So you can see the tea bags. We also have it in loose leaf tea. Suprabhat chai, like I said, it's made for the mornings. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the Kapha time. So Suprabhat chai is made to pacify the Kapha. It's made of tulsi, muletti, kali mirch, brahmi, and Darjeeling green tea leaves. It's very tasty and very soothing to the throat because it's got muletti. Tulsi helps in detoxification. Kali mirch helps in stimulating you. It's Kapha shamak. Brahmi is also very good for the nervous system. So this chai can also be had by the Pitt types once in a while because it has muletti and Brahmi, which help to pacify Pitt. This chai is good for the liver. It is good for the nervous system. It also helps in alleviating a common cold and improving concentration. All right, let's come to the lunchtime now. So when we talk about Vat's lunch, Vat's lunch, it's important that they eat a good meal, a well-balanced meal. Of course, they don't have a super high appetite like a Pitt, but they do require grounding, and that is why they tend to feel hungry very soon. So urad ki dal is something which is very good for the Vat person. Urad ki dal has manifold health benefits, multiple of them. So urad ki dal is very good for the nervous system, and Vata is associated with the nervous system. So any disorders also related to the nervous system, urad ki dal could be helpful. Urad ki dal is very helpful for gas problems or digestion related issues. Urad ki dal is helpful for bone health. So it really strengthens your bone and it alleviates excess Vata, and it provides a lot of strength. So this is something which is highly recommended for Vata people. And tadka of ghee, hing, garlic, and cumin is a must. So tadka is very, very medicinal. Eating dal without tadka is half as helpful. So in all dals or anything like this that we make at home, tadka is a must. And we'll come to what tadkas suit the Pitt and Kapha types. Medium spiced cooked vegetables like beans, carrots, parval is very good for Vata people. Potatoes also can be good. Torai, spinach, pumpkin, with whole wheat chapatis. So like we talked about Kapha and Pitt, choosing barley, especially the Kapha types would choose barley. Vata types should always, or they naturally will choose whole wheat. They'll be like, no, I want chapati. They would probably choose chapati over rice until and unless they're very full from a meal before. because they need that grounding. They only feel full and grounded when they've had a whole wheat chapati. And it's good for them to use a lot of butter or ghee in their chapatis or parathas, whatever they choose to have. If they want to detoxify, they've been munching on outside food or packaged foods, or they've been out in parties eating and drinking the wrong things, then khichdi is ideal for detoxifying. Khichdi can be accompanied with okra. Okra is bhindi, and it's very helpful for the Vat people. You can also choose some kind of pickle. Nibu ka achar, especially a homemade pickle could be very good for stomach problems, especially when the lemon pickle goes, black after kind of preserving it for a long time. It becomes medicine for any kind of stomach issue. If you want to choose continental, then pasta with broccoli, zucchini, cheese, pine nuts, and pesto sauce. So Vat types, pesto sauce would suit you because it's made of pine nuts, and it will help you get that oil that you need in the body and satiate the dryness that you have within. When we talk about non-veg, yes, you could go for the dark chicken, the dark meat of chicken, because once again, it will help you to ground yourself and add to your strength, to your fragile body. It will add to your muscles and your flesh. And fish is very good for the Vat person, because once again, fish has multiple health benefits. It's rich in oils. It is rich in omega-3 fatty acids. It's very good for the bones. It's once again very good for the nervous system. So fish is very, very medicinal here. Eggs can also be eaten by Vat people once in a while. When we talk about Pitta style, Pitta for lunch, if they've not had the midday snack, then they can definitely go for chola, rajma, and they can easily digest these things. For a Vat person, chola and rajma could become very heavy and it could lead to gas problems. But for a Pitta person, especially a person who's Pitta kapha, it may not be that problematic. Moong ki dal, arhar ki dal is very satiating for the Pitta person, very balancing. When it comes to tadka, of course, the normal tadka of hing and jeera, cumin with ghee is absolutely fine. But if you want to try new things, then kadi patta, saunf with small amount of ghee and rye, hing and rye can also be used. Potatoes, not so much, but yes, a little amount of potatoes can be very satiating, especially in the winters. Tinda, bitter gourd, karela, I think this is, bitter gourd or even bottle gourd here, which is lauki. Lauki is very good for Pitta people. Green leafy vegetables, which are lightly spiced, can also be very good for you, because if you go for very hot and very rich and spicy food, it will aggravate the Pitta and it will lead to hyperacidity or heartburn or indigestion or diarrhea maybe. Paneer with buttered chapatis is also very good. Paneer is a milk product and it is got cool potency. It's sheetal potency. So it tends to pacify the Pitta person. Yes, once in a while you can have curd, but excessive curd is not recommended. If you want to detoxify, then here raw vegetables or a raw vegetable salad or green leafy vegetable salad could be very good for you. Unlike for the Vat person, if the Vat person has a salad, he's going to face gas problems or he will feel even more airy. So Pitta people can definitely go for a raw fruit salad or raw vegetable salad, the ones that can help them detoxify. So leafy salads are very good for them. Continental mixed sauce pasta with less amount of garlic and chili. It is also tridosh shamak, of course. Lentil soup with onions, carrots, and celery can also be very good for the Pitta type. It is also tridosh shamak. It is tridosh balancing. So it can be taken by Vat Pitta kapha. In non-veg, mutton is very satiating for the Pitta type. Also, mutton has a cold potency, so and it is heavy, so it is easily digested by the Pitta person, and at the same time it helps to balance the Pitta person. So mutton and eggs is something that is recommended for the Pitta person. When we talk about Kaf's diet, we recommend moong ki dal and or arher ki dal. They want to go light, unless and until they are super hungry. Once again, like I said before, that these are just recommendations, and you ultimately you need to listen to your body and what the season demands, and how you are scheduling your lifestyle. So moong and arher ki dal with hing, rai, methi seeds and kalonji ka tadka. Of course, maybe not with these dals. With these dals, you can go with the normal tadka, but if you want to try different tadkas, so methi seeds or kalonji is something that you can include in your tadka once in a while, because once again, they help to rekindle that fire in a Kapha person, and they have many other benefits. Pumpkin, karela, tinda, carrot, these vegetables are very good for the Kapha types, and probably Kapha types automatically get attracted also to such vegetables. They are very detoxifying, and like I said before, astringent taste, pungent taste, and bitter taste. These tastes really satiate the Kapha person. Also, you need to cook your food or your vegetables in good amount of spices. So spicy food is very good for you. Please go ahead with the red chili, the black pepper, garam masala. Although all these spices should be used for a Vats diet as well as for a Pitta diet. But, we can't be that liberal with Pitta especially. But for Kapha, you can liberally use these spices because they need it. Plain chapatis is recommended. You can avoid the ghee. If you are taking curd, please take it with black pepper. It will be even more helpful. But excess of curd is not recommended. Excess of curd is not recommended for any of the diets. Continental, spicy vegetable soup with onions, garlic, broccoli, celery, carrots, and green beans it could be superb for the Kapha person. Like if he has this in the middle of the day, he'll be like super active for the second part of the day because it's so spicy, and he's got those vegetables, and he's got that curry, which will pass on the nutrients in the body even more quickly. Non-veg choice should always be roasted or baked, because these would be more digestible. Chicken and fish is once again recommended here because they need that warmth. They need those oils that are present in the fish. And chicken here, the white chicken, the white meat of chicken is recommended for the Kapha diet. So after lunch, we come to the evening time, the tea time, and we all know that it's a ritual in India, especially, to have a tea time in the evenings. And of course, with the summer kicking in, the tea time generally starts at 5:30 or 6, because the day tends to, it's short, but it starts early. So ajwain cookies with a cup of tea is recommended for the Vata types, since ajwain helps in alleviating gas problems, and it also gives warmth to the digestion process. Alternatively, we have butterfly Ayurveda ajwain cookies as well, but there are prana cookies, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. We have desi masala chai or any kind of homemade masala chai. You could add spices, a little bit of ginger, elaichi, dalchini, kali mirch. However, in the summer, especially the summer of Delhi, it's not recommended to have masala chai. But if it's raining too heavily and cool air is kind of flowing, then you can opt, or you can choose to have desi masala chai once in a while, since it will help with digestion. It will help with bloating, especially. Shubh Sant chai is another herbal tea that Butterfly Ayurveda offers. It's made of mint, fennel, and ajwain and shankh pushpi. This combination helps in alleviating Vata dosh, and it is also very good for Pitta people and the Kapha people. And now what happens is that after 2 p.m., from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., the Vat dosh kicks in, the Vat timing kicks in. So like we spoke about the Vat time in the morning, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., then 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. was the Kapha timing, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. was the Pitta timing. After 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., the Vat timing kicks in. So automatically during this time, you are, you start to feel restless. You want to go out for a walk, or you will have gas problems because you've eaten your lunch and you're sitting down. So this is why we have made the Shubh Sanj Chai, which is helpful in pacifying the Vat dosh. Pitta type could go for our Tejas cookies, which are made with different multigrain flours, which help in pacifying Pitta dosh. And they also have melon seeds. They also have watermelon seeds, cucumber seeds as well. So that helps to pacify the Pitta. They also have elaichi and saunf in it. They're super tasty. And they do good in this summer heat. Fruit and nut cookies, if you're really craving for a wholesome cookie, so something heavy like a fruit and nut cookie could be good for you. Cardamom tea is once again recommended for the Pitta type. Alternatively, you could go for whole grain crackers or biscuits, or just a normal cup of tea, where you've not added any elaichi, you've not added any ginger, you're just adding tea leaves and water, or tea leaves, water, and milk to taste, and then drinking your tea. That is very good. Kapha types, you could go for Ojas cookies or Daibi Choice cookies. These are all Butterfly Ayurveda products. And Ojas cookies have sesame seeds and gram flour and many other multigrain flours, which are very good for Kapha people. It also has barley flour in it. Daibi Choice cookies, these are also extremely good since they have ingredients that help in controlling the sugar levels and cholesterol levels. They also have stevia in it. Oh no, not Daibi Choice cookies. They also have coconut sugar in it. We use coconut sugar so that the sugar levels can be kept under control. We have Shubh Sanj Chai, which is once again recommended for the Kapha types. Tulsi green tea can also benefit the Kapha people because Tulsi is very detoxifying and green tea is also very detoxifying. With barley cookies, alternatively, masala chai is always a good choice for the Kapha type. Maybe not in the summers, but yes, winters, yes, it's a good choice for you. Oh, sorry. Coming to dinner. Now let's talk about dinner. For the Vat person, if you've had a heavy meal during the day and if you're not that hungry, or if you've snacked in the evening also. So in case in the evening time, you don't want to have just tea and cookies, you want to snack, then you can refer to the midday snack chart. All those snacks can easily apply to this time of the day as well. But maybe not fruits so much, but the warm ones, definitely. When we come to dinner, then if you're an early dinner person, then lightly spiced vegetable curry with rice could be good. It's also very detoxifying. However, if you're hungry, you could go for jeera aloo and buttered chapatis. You could also go for paneer ki sabzi. You could also go for any of the foods which are given in the lunch chart. However, I would avoid the dal. The urad ki dal could get a little heavy at night, but vegetables like beans, carrots, parval, potatoes, spinach, torei, these could be very good to be taken at night. But have a meal, and wholesome meal. Avoid eating salads because that could be too light for you and it may create gas. Continental, a vegetable soup could be very satiating. Non-veg, chicken soup, or just chicken in any form with curry, with chapatis could be very good. Fish curry with rice could be very good. We also have written the desserts here, and gulab jamun could be very good for the Vat person. Kheer is also satiating for that person, and urad ki dal ka halwa. Once again, we know the benefits of urad ki dal, and this dal's halwa could be very good for the Vat person. However, when we talk about kheer, it's highly recommended that if the kheer is not warm and if it is cold, then it should be eaten, after giving a good gap of, at least half an hour or something after the meal, because cold foods, they tend to create indigestion, or they will douche the digestive fire, due to which you may have problems later. So a gulab jamun could be taken right after a meal, if nicely warmed gulab jamun, or even urad ki dal ka halwa, because it's warm, so it will not douche the digestive fire. But an ice cream or kheer right after a meal, it's not a good choice. And probably kheer, if consumed during the day, it's always a better choice. Now let's talk about Pitt's diet and Pitt's dinner. Peas pulao or plain rice, once again accompanied with vegetable curry. And to be very honest, peas pulao could do great for lunch also. If you've had a very heavy breakfast, then peas pulao could be very good for you during lunchtime. But if you want to go for rice at night, peas pulao is good. Peas is good for Pitt people because it's a little sweet. Paneer ki sabzi with rotis, if you are super hungry, definitely go for it. Continental vegetable soup is good to keep light. Non-veg, once again, mutton soup or mutton curry with chapatis or egg curry with rice is suited for the Pitt people. The sweet dishes which suit the Pitt types: rasmalai, kheer, moong ki dal ka halwa. Once again, I would recommend avoid sweet at night. Consuming it during the daytime is always better, and try to consume it at least after half an hour of your meal. The cold ones. The warm ones, of course, you can consume it within 5 or 10 minutes. But the cold ones, rasmalai and kheer, anything which is right out of the fridge, especially a milk sweet which is right out of the fridge, it should not, be taken right after your meal. Now let's come to Kaf's diet for dinner. Tur dal, which is arhar ki dal, with a tadka of hing, mustard seeds, and red chili. Red chili tadka is very good for Kaf people. So, and you will see that Kaf people actually enjoy this tadka also. Cooked sabzi or grilled paneer with multi-grain roti could be very good, or cooked vegetables with rice, once again, could be very detoxifying for the Kaf types. Multi-grain rotis is to help them keep light, because Kaf types naturally don't enjoy wheat. They can't have so much of rotis and parathas. They want to keep it light. So they will opt for more vegetables, or, even soups. But rotis they tend to avoid. So if you have multi-grain roti, especially barley rotis, once again, would do them a great deal of good. Continental tomato soup is very satiating for a Kaf person, especially in the winter. And you top it up with some black pepper. It would be very good. You could do with a small leafy vegetable salad, but not too much, and couple it up with a soup, because you want to keep your digestive fire on. You want to keep yourself a little warm, because Kaf is also cold and heavy because of the presence of water and earth. When it comes to non-veg, chicken soup or roasted grilled chicken could be very satiating, taken with chapatis if you want that, or grilled chicken taken with rice with some kind of sauce could be also a good meal for you. When it comes to a dessert, besan ka laddu or moong ki dal ka halwa, or even besan ka halwa is very good for you. And like I said, that gram flour suits you a lot. So anything to do with besan will be good for you, will be good for your digestive process as well. But make sure that in the halwa, you put a little less ghee, and you could also use jaggery, because jaggery will give you that warmth. And if you're using excess amount of ghee, you will feel very heavy, which is not recommended. So this is Shubh Sanj Chai that I spoke about earlier, to be consumed during the evening time, since that time 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is the time of Vata. Vata is just generally aggravated in the environment and in our bodies. This is the nature cycle. So Shubh Sanj Chai is made for this time period. However, you may consume it at any other time, especially if you have any digestive disorder or digestion related issue. It's good for digestion. It has carminative property, which means that it alleviates gas. It's also good for infective disorders. It helps to relieve stress and has a soothing effect because it has Shankpushpi in it. And also mint, it has a very soothing effect. Green tea leaves also have a very soothing effect. These are our pran cookies. Pran cookies are made with black gram flour, whole wheat flour, semolina, which is suji, cumin, turmeric, mint, also rice flour. And the best thing about each of our cookies is that they all are made of cow ghee. So we don't use any kind of vegetable oil. We don't use any palm oil or any kind of vegetable fat. All the ingredients are sourced organically, and we ensure that all our cookies are very well quality controlled, and all of them have natural ingredients. So this one is great for working as a stimulator for the appetite. It's great for digestion, and it's a very good source of fiber. And since it has cumin and also mint leaves in it, it alleviates gas and stomach discomfort. These cookies can also suit the cough types once in a while, and the pitta types, so yeah. All right. Now let's talk about the before bedtime. So it's not mandatory to drink or eat something before bedtime, but if you really want to, and if you have a health issue, then drinking turmeric milk could be great. It works as a medicine. And when we talk about turmeric milk, again, for Vata types, it's recommended that drink your turmeric milk with a pinch of cinnamon or dried ginger. It's very good for your joints. It's very good for your digestion process. It's very good to control Vata. You know, that addition of a little bit of dried ginger can do wonders. So sometimes what happens is that when Vata gets aggravated, people tend to have a migraine because the air tends to go up. And I talk about this because this has happened to me. And that time, turmeric milk, a glass of turmeric milk, works as a medicine. So when you consume it and you just go off to sleep, and when you wake up the next day, you are just absolutely fine, because turmeric has a lot of healing properties. It helps with inflammation. It helps with alleviating pain in the body. And it also helps in cleansing of the intestines. So turmeric is great. When we talk about pith can have their turmeric milk plainly as turmeric milk, or they could use a little bit of cardamom because it is soothing. Their excessive fire could be balanced and pacified by adding cardamom. And it could also help a little bit with hyperacidity. Cough diet. Cough types should go for skimmed milk because they want to go less on the milk products, and they can add turmeric and black pepper. They can add black pepper to their turmeric milk because it helps to stimulate a fire element in them. And also black pepper works as an expectorant. So it helps in throwing out the phlegm that is in your bronchioles, or it comes, or it is really helpful in your wet cough. So automatically your phlegm will keep coming out with the use of black pepper. So this could be very, very medicinal, haldi with black pepper. Alternatively, Butterfly Ayurveda's Ratri Chai, which is made of 7 unique ingredients. We are going to come to that. It has ashwagandha, giloy, kali mirch, lemongrass, tulsi, and it is 3 dosha balancing. So any of the body types can consume it. And it's very stress relieving. So the whole idea behind formulating a tea like this was to help relieve stress. It works as a nervine tonic and it relaxes your nervous system so that you sleep well and you wake up fresh the next day. It also helps in digestion process. It also helps in muscle spasms. So this one is also highly recommended. When we talk about beverages for the different body types, for Vata types, it's always recommended to go for warm drinks. Like Jaljeera would also be very good, but this one is not warm. But, if you have a gas problem, then ajwain and rock salt can be taken. Little bit of rock salt and ajwain can be taken with warm water to alleviate that gas. So here, warm drinks can be very helpful. However, a regular chai or ashwagandha tea. Ashwagandha is very good for overall health of the body. And specifically for the Vata types, because it's great for the nervous system and it's also very detoxifying. Pomegranate juice is also very good for Vata types because sweet taste tends to satiate the Vata person. Lassi is also good for the Vata types. Alternatively, buttermilk with some kind of tarka of cumin and mint leaves can also be helpful for the Vata person once in a while. Pitta types, the beverages for Pitta types, sweet lassi is very good for the Pitta person. And I would recommend that whenever you have the sweet lassi, especially the Punjabi style sweet lassi, which is very heavy and nice, always take it alone. Don't couple it up with any kind of food because it tends to get very heavy and then it will not digest. So sweet lassi is good for you, especially in the summer season. Buttermilk is good for you. Sharbat in the summers can be very good. Sharbat of rose or brahmi could be very soothing. And because these are cooling herbs and can really help you to balance your pith. Cold milkshakes once in a while can be very good. Once again, pomegranate juice or vegetable juice to detoxify. Otherwise, juices is something that, they are present in your body naturally because your pith is so high. Cough types, herbal teas is recommended. We've already discussed this. Masala chai, sweet lime juice. And sweet lime juice can really help you detoxify because, you want that pungent taste or astringent taste. So sweet lime juice can be very good. Even a juice of berries can be very good for you. Vegetable juice is very detoxifying. Coffee occasionally is good for you because it will wake you up. That kick is required for you to kind of wake up and get about your routine. And it can prove to tweak you mentally. So it is good for you. And it can also help with sluggish digestion. What to avoid? For Vata types, like discussed before, avoid raw foods, astringent taste. Stale food, completely avoid because, they have aggravated Vata already. Once a food becomes stale or it's kept outside for very long, uncovered or just like that, and you pick it up and have it, automatically you will feel that you have some gas problem or, your digestion is not taking place properly. So it's very important that you have warm meals, cooked meals, and freshly cooked meals is the best. Avoid cold sweets right after a meal. This I have already discussed, especially milk ones, as they tend to aggravate indigestion and can lead to hyperacidity over time. Yes, this is not always the case, but sometimes it may be the case. So avoid more. And once in a while, of course, you can go for it. And for pith types, stale food, fermented food is a complete no-no. Once again, fermented foods, they lead to pith aggravation. Fermented foods will include idli, dosa. Fermented foods will include curd as well. So excessive curd, because curd is the only milk product which actually is hot in potency because it's fermented, and it will aggravate pith over time. So fermented foods is a complete no-no. Packaged foods is also something that you must enjoy. Too hot or too spicy foods is also once in a while thing for you, or you will need to balance it with something cooler, but just avoid it so that you can maintain a healthy pith, a healthy fire. Cold sweets after a meal, like I said before, to be avoided. Once in a while, yeah, you can opt for it, but it may aggravate indigestion, it may douche the digestive fire. But in some cases, what happens is that a pith person is able to take the sweet because the fire is so excessive. So if the fire is excessive, you may feel that something cool will help you to subside that excess fire. So that's a different case. However, that condition only should not come. You should not reach that place where the fire has become so excessive. So you really need to choose the right foods for yourself. Cuff diet. Avoid heavy, oily, buttery foods. We have already discussed this. Avoid sweets as much as possible. Yes, but if you're doing rigorous exercise, then your besan ka laddus once in a while will not harm. A little bit of jaggery is also good for you. Little bit of dal ka halwa is also good for you. Moong ki dal ka halwa. Okay. So let's first focus on the right side of this chart. And we spoke specifically about the Vat types, the Pit types, and the Kaph types. And we did cover Vat Pit, Pit Kaph, and Vat Kaph as well. But here, it's like a seasonal chart. And since we said that usually a person's constitution is, two doshas are predominant in a person's body constitution. So let's start from the right side. If you are a Vat Pith person, then you must have a Vat controlling diet in the fall and in the winter, and Pith controlling diet through the summer. So we've already discussed the taste. The tastes are also given here. Vat people, sweet, sour, salty automatically satiates you. It pacifies Vat, it balances Vat. Sweet, bitter, astringent tastes, they help balance the Pith person. Bitter, pungent, astringent tastes, they help balance the Kaph dosh. Vat and Kaph type people, your diet should be Vat controlling foods in the summer and fall, which is through the summer and through this rainy season and through the fall till the time winter kicks in, and Kaph controlling foods when the winter kicks in and through the spring, because Vat and Kaph, they tend to get aggravated during the winter season because it's the time of coldness. If there is dampness, it is Kaph. If there is dryness in the atmosphere, it is Vat. So you need to control your Kaph during the winter and the spring, and you need to control Vat during the summer and the fall. Pith Kaph diet is a pith controlling diet from late spring to early fall, which is the time period going on right now. And Kaph controlling diet from late fall to early spring. So that would be through the winter. So these are some things to keep in mind. They're just helpful. But like I said before, that it's always good to have a better understanding of your body constitution and see which dosha is becoming imbalanced and take steps accordingly. On the left side, we have briefly talked about the 3 questions, what to eat. And it's important that we listen to our bodies carefully and what the body is asking us to eat. So like I said before, that our diet recommendations and whatever we have shared with you It's a recommendation, and it could be very helpful for you to decide better, but really understand your body. And the best way to really understand your body's constitution is not by taking a Prakriti quiz or a test online. That is one of the ways, but it is also by reaching out to an Ayurvedic professional or an Ayurvedic doctor who can check your Prakriti by Nadi Parikshan. And I mentioned this in the previous webinar also. He'll hold your pulse with his hand, and just by the beat of the pulse, he will be able to tell you what your body's constitution is and where the imbalance is. When to eat? Eat when you are hungry. In today's contemporary lifestyle, it's hard to say that don't eat when you come back home at 10, because maybe you've been working, for the last 4 or 5 hours at a stretch. So it's important that you eat when you are hungry, but always use your better judgment. Don't go against wisdom. When you are overeating, when you are eating at the wrong time, or you are eating the wrong thing at the wrong time. So if you are hungry or coming home late and you've not eaten for the last 4 or 5 hours, please sit down and enjoy a wholesome meal. It's absolutely okay. How to eat? This one is very important, and all of us already know this, but for some reason we don't follow it. Please maintain focus, resonate with the food, avoid excessive talking. Actually, avoid talking at all. Just enjoy your food. Don't watch YouTube videos, don't watch the television or read something. There's this new trend of doing meetings over lunch, or even in the boardroom, the lunch is called for and the meeting goes on and on. It's not very healthy, because your body is undergoing a very sensitive process. It's a very sensitive process. You're putting food in your mouth, you're chewing it, then it's going down through the digestive tract into your stomach. And there is so much onus on the different organs to process your food. So if your mind is not in the body, and it's your mind is on totally different things, it leads to indigestion. And most of the health problems today, I would say, are associated with how we are eating rather than what we are eating or when we are eating. So if your how becomes better, I'm sure that a lot of health issues can be resolved. Nothing like good company. Nothing like good company when you're with a person or with your friends, when you're relaxed, when there is no agenda of sitting together and you're just eating. So that is absolutely fine. Here are some tips to balance the different doshas. Let's see the Vata dosh. Tips include hing, cumin, and ajwain in your diet. That will really help you to alleviate the excess Vata, especially gas problems. Exercise regularly, but do not over-exercise, because if you over-exercise, you will further aggravate the Vata. Yoga asanas like Baddha Konasana can be very helpful because they will help you release the gas. Eat warm cooked meals with generous amount of ghee and butter, already spoken about. Meditation and breathing techniques can be very helpful. They will bring stability. They will help you ground better for the day. Try to schedule your day a little bit. Try to plan a little ahead of time so that you conserve your energy. Otherwise, since you are so movement oriented, it's very easy for you to go from one thing to another very quickly. And you're also very lightheaded. So try to plan and try to follow that plan. Pitta dosh. Tips to help balance the Pitta dosh. Avoid drinking right before the meal and right after the meal. So we spoke about this before also, that this is not for a particular body type. Like all these tips, they apply to everyone. This is when you want to balance a particular dosha which has gotten imbalanced in your body constitution. So if you are suffering from acidity or heartburn, then you really need to check your pith. You really need to check your digestive fire. So if you're drinking water before the meal or after the meal, you are douching the digestive fire. And probably that disturbance is causing indigestion, and over a period of time, it could lead to acidity and ama buildup, toxins buildup. Avoid fermented, stale, or packaged foods, already spoken about. Some spices do help digestion, but do not go very easy on hot and spicy foods. Cardamom tea is very good for stomach and digestive tract. Avoid refrigerated milk products right after a meal. They disturb the digestive fire. So this is mainly when the digestive fire is completely off. If your kapha dosha is off, and you know it, you start to feel heavy in the body, or you're suffering from water retention. Water retention is definitely a sign of kapha imbalance. So you know that I need to become more active. Try waking up 15 minutes earlier than usual. Not half an hour, not 1 hour before, but just 15 minutes, and work out. Sweat it out. It will help you to balance your kapha. It will be also very good for your respiratory system, your lungs, and kapha is highly present in this area. So when your lungs are healthier and your respiratory tracts are healthier, automatically you will feel light and your kapha will be balanced. Avoid heavy, oily food. Specifically, fried foods will not do you good, because the minute you will eat fried foods, and if you're not working out, you are going to feel very heavy and sluggish. Eat warm food with spices and herbs to remain active. Black pepper is very good. We've already spoken about it. Avoid milk products because they lead to phlegm formation. Herbal teas could be very good for you, since they help in detoxifying. Also, they warm you, and if spices are being used in the tea, then they will pacify and balance the kapha. Lemon, ginger, honey can be very good for you. It helps in detoxification. Make sure that you add honey when the water is lukewarm. We don't recommend honey to be added in boiling water. It turns toxic. So yes, while changing the constitution is not possible, a deeper understanding of it helps to make better choices pertaining to daily life activities and to live a healthier life. And you must know that each one of us, we get our prakriti or body constitution from our parents. So you will see that you're probably a mix of your parents. And it is something that you cannot change. But if you have a better understanding of it, it will empower you to choose correctly. Okay, I know that I'm a Vata person, and if I eat this, it's just going to aggravate Vata. Not only pertaining to food, but also lifestyle choices. Herbs and spices, of course, we've spoken about this at stretch. Vata, ajwain, garlic, cumin, ashwagandha, hing, nutmeg is good for you. Pith, mint, rose, shatavari is very good. Fennel, shatavari is asparagus, and shatavari is also highly recommended for women's health, especially reproductive health. Cardamom is very good. Mulethi is excellent. Kapha dosh, Triphala. Triphala is great. In fact, Triphala is three dosha balancing, so it's three doshama. So it's actually good for Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. But we've written it for Kapha dosh specifically because it will help you to develop a schedule for yourself. It will help you to get into a routine, because Triphala is not only detoxifying and not only good for your eyes, but it also sets you in a cycle. So you will see that with Triphala, you will start to wake up 15 minutes earlier automatically. You will feel hungry at the right time automatically. So this powder works wonders. Black pepper is great. Garam masala is highly recommended for kapha dosh. Turmeric is good for all. Clove is very good for the respiratory system, especially for cough. And cinnamon also we have discussed earlier. This is Ratri Chai. The 7 great herbs: ashwagandha, brahmi, shankpushpi, tulsi, guduchi, lemongrass, and kali mirch. It's a herbal infusion, not to be taken with milk. It helps relieve stress, fatigue, and pain. supports digestion, also helps in strengthening the memory and learning abilities because it has ashwagandha, brahmi, and shankpushpi. All three herbs have a great effect on the nervous system. And ashwagandha specifically helps in energizing also. Good source of antioxidants. And this is something that I would introduce to you if you've not already heard about it. Butterfly Ayurveda launched Corona Fly last month, and these are Ayurvedic capsules to fight flu-like symptoms. And these could be a high fever or sore throat, dry cough specifically, shortness of breath, or body ache, headache. And Corona Fly is made up of mulethi, guduchi, Triphala, Dalchini, Pipli, Vasa, Aprajita, Ashwagandha, Kalmek, Tulsi, Ginger, and Haldi. So these herbs, all of them, they are very good for the said benefits. Also, some of them have antiviral and antibacterial properties. Mulethi is specifically very good for the throat. It is also very good in fighting viral activities. Also, this formulation is very good for the liver health. So if you're looking to increase your immunity and to improve your liver health alongside and to fight flu-like symptoms, this medicine is highly recommended. Thank you all for attending today's webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, please write to us on balance@butterflyayurveda.com. And we will take up the questions in the next webinar, which talks about Ayurveda. And our upcoming webinar will be on yoga and meditation, and it will be guided by Yogi Arun. So stay tuned, have a lovely evening and a fantastic weekend. Thank you very much. Goodbye.